got the handout and did not feel intimidated, I put in there, fear not, we do have 2 Sundays to cover this. But it is a unit of material, so I wanted you to have the chance to reflect on it as a unit. And of course, last week we finished up a 2-part lesson on the central material of the gospel, the parables that have that are so remarkable. They are stories that put us to a decision. There's no neutrality about those parables. In fact, they show who you are by your response to them. And we talked about Jesus' original use of those parables to stress, to announce the kingdom is going to come. It's going to come no matter what tries to oppose it, and no matter appearances to the contrary. It's like that dragnet. It's going to catch you. It is. And Matthew brings those stories forward to speak to his own congregation, his own community of faith, who is also facing opposition, and saying, well, when the dragnet comes in, because it's going to come in, which fish are you going to be? Are you going to be one that's kept or one that's tossed? Are you going to be the wheat, or are you going to be a weed? What are you going to be? And it's worth pointing out too that there's also an element, and we didn't bring this out because there's just so much to bring out. There's an element of talking about evangelism as well, from those parables to his community, particularly when you think about the parable of the sower. Why cast the seed so broadly? Well, precisely because you know that most of it is not going to take root. And that's not a reason to stop casting the seed broadly. Any farmer, any first century Palestinian farmer would have known that without it being explained. You have to cast the seed broadly because most of the soil is not going to give you what you want. And if you don't cast it broadly, you're going to get nothing. Right? So it is a message of encouragement and admonition in the face, again, of opposition. Keep casting that seed broadly. Well, this week and next week, we move into passages where we see both opposition and brewing opposition, growing opposition, powerful opposition, and we see Jesus continue to bring forward his kingdom in now, again, tangible means. And we do want to start with, good morning, come on in, welcome. Nobody left. Oh, too bad. Yeah. So, good morning. I'm Mary Elizabeth. Hi, Mike. Lisa. Autumn. Well, let's go around real quick. Who's else? Ramona. Carol.
Tricia. Pauline.
Bill.
And there will be a quiz. Here this morning. And online joining us from home is Charlene and Kathy. Okay. So we are in Matthew chapter 14 this morning, and actually just the little tail end of 13, and we're just getting started. So you're at a perfect time. So I love this last little segment here in chapter 13, and on your handout, I said Jesus tells a joke. Jesus tells a lot of jokes. We tend to read the Bible as though it is holy written. We must read it like this, and so we don't get. But Jesus tells a marvelous joke here. And it shows his response to ongoing opposition, right? He goes back into his own country, right? To the synagogue where he grew up, right? And we all know about going back home, right? Right? You're just the kid, right? You're just that kid that scraped his knee on the street playing kickball, right? Where'd this man get this wisdom and these mighty works? Isn't he just the carpenter's son? Mary, his brothers, we all know them. When did he get all this? Who does he think he is? And Jesus tells the joke. A prophet is not without honor, except in his own country and his own family. Jesus tells a joke. It's very true. Oftentimes, the people you know the best are the people who are least open to what you have to say, right? It's a darling little moment there, and a good object lesson. A, not to take ourselves too seriously, and B, not to let opposition steal our good cheer, which is going to stand him in good stead. Because then in chapter 14, we move into a recollection of what happens as Herod hears about Jesus' fame. And what does Herod immediately think? This is John the Baptist come back to haunt me, right? And so why was it that John the Baptist had a beef with Herod?
Because Herod married his brother's wife.
Yeah, which is forbidden under Torah, right? And it even raises the question, how is it that woman became a widow? Right? We know Herod, we know what he's capable of, right? Excuse me. So why do you think Herod is so afraid that this might be John the Baptist come back? Why even think that way?
Because John the Baptist accused him of adultery.
And yeah, well, John's dead. Mike, what were you going to say?
I believe Herod actually, in a way, believed. I believe that he believed that John Baptist was a man of God.
Yes,
In a way, he was afraid of him.
It was-
He's real.
exactly. He was afraid. This man is motivated by his fear. And you don't feel fear unless you also feel what? Guilty. Yeah. Yeah. He knows John was right. And John has probably been haunting him, so to speak, ever since the events we hear about here, right? We all know the story, right? What happens to John the Baptist? He's in prison. Herod doesn't want to kill him, doesn't want to do anything to him.
But Herodias does, and she gets her daughter to dance for him and ask for John's head.
Right. And one thing I do want to point out, there's actually a lot of times, and Hollywood loves to make this all very a sexy scene, right? There's nothing here sexual here. This is a little girl being manipulated by her mother to get somebody's head on a plate. And the crowd think Shirley Temple, right? Right. She's cute. Oh, she's cute. The whole crowd loves her. What does she want? John the Baptist's head on a plate. Okay, that's what mommy said to ask for. Right. Herodias is very exploitive here. She really is a femme fatale here.
How
And-
old was she?
We don't know. We just know she's a girl. She's described as a girl here. We don't even know her name here. Salome, right, is the traditional name. But she's a girl, which suggests she's not even of the age to marry, right?
She can't be all that, I mean, she doesn't seem all that, she's carrying a head on a platter. Doing all the, she's not, I think if she was tiny, she would have been.
We don't know that she's physically carrying it. The head was brought on a platter and given to the girl, and she brought it to her mother. We don't know that she's physically carrying it.
Okay.
And remember, a 10-year-old girl would be sent to fetch the water.
Yeah.
It said it was given to the girl, the head on the platter was given to her
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we don't know that she's physically carrying
Yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah. It's a gory scene, no question. It's a gory scene. What political context underlies this passage? Who is Herod? Yeah, and who does he answer to?
The-
Caesar, right? He's a puppet king appointed by Caesar, right? He can't have challenges to his power because Caesar is watching. Are you keeping your little kingdom under control? So here's another reason for him to be afraid. He is a puppet of Caesar and evidently of Herodias as well, and of public opinion, right? He didn't want to go back on his, oh, anything you want, honey. He didn't want to go back on that. This is a man governed by fear. What is the implicit contrast with the kind of ruler that we've already gotten to know in Jesus? Jesus is compassionate. What else is he? Just? Is he blown by the winds? Moving? Is he is
Sturdy.
yeah, see, sturdy. He's not going to get pushed one way or the other because somebody has some other plan for him. And does he have any reason to be afraid of anybody? No, he never shows fear. This is a marvelous vignette to remind us, by contrast, who Jesus is as sovereign of his kingdom and God's kingdom compared to this man Herod. And it's ironic, right? Because we know what's coming in a few chapters. What's coming in a few chapters? The crucifixion, right, right. The next thing we move into here is the feeding of the 5,000 men plus women and children, right? The women and children are not counted in this. What might Herod's response be to 5,000 men gathering to hear Jesus preach? Jealous and
Fear.
Fear, exactly, fear. Matthew is starting to build the narrative that takes us to the crucifixion. This guy's getting scary if you're a political leader. This feeding of the 5,000, does it appear in any of the other gospels?
Yeah.
Yes, all of them.
All of them, absolutely, absolutely. So what does that tell us about the importance of this story to the early church?
It's very important.
Exactly. Everybody remembers it. Everybody's got to tell it. Everybody loves this story, right? You can almost imagine each of the gospel writers with their team, with their co-writers, their editorial crew, and everybody's like, yeah, we've got to get this one in. Oh my gosh, my grandmother was there. She tells it every week. We got to get this one in there, right? So it's really important. Well, why? What did this passage recall for them and for us? That's something that we do every time we meet. Communion, absolutely. Notice, what does Jesus do with the bread?
He breaks it.
And before he breaks it, he blesses it, right? The early church just screams a prefigurement of communion, right? And so what does this passage tell us about the Eucharist, about communion? Who's the host? Jesus. What else does it tell us?
All are welcome.
Yeah, do not send anybody away. They don't need to go away. What else?
You do it as often as you meet together.
Yeah, yeah. And we're going to see that again, actually, in a future in another chapter. What else, Cedric?
Salvation brings satisfaction.
Oh boy, I love that. How do you get that out of that story?
Oh, because it said right here, the disciples came to the crowds Everyone ate and was satisfied.
Amen. Amen. Right? That Eucharist feeds us in a way that nothing else can feed us, right? And notice, I just love that little scene in 16 and 17. Jesus says that they need not go away. You give them something to eat, right? They wanted Jesus, Jesus make them go away, get them something to eat, right? And then in 18, we only have 5 loaves and 2 fish, and you can almost hear it, and we aren't gonna share. You can almost hear it, right? Yeah, yeah,
I mean, you got 2 fish, you gonna well just kind of like concede that I'm not gonna eat.
yeah,
5,000 people here, I'll eat later.
yeah, yeah,
It says about.
yeah, right. And notice,
Yeah, right.
And notice-
7,500.
5,000 men besides women and children. So if you imagine one wife and 2.3 children with each of those 5,000 men, we got a big crowd to feed. We need Fox Brothers barbecue here to feed this crowd, right? And remember that these 2 little fish, they're probably mackerel. They're dinky little things. Yeah, dinky little things. Yeah. And notice what Jesus has them do. He has them in verse 19.
Sitting in groups.
Sitting in groups. Yeah, they sat down.
We talk about, I feel like we talked about this before, about the sitting posture is the
Yeah.
posture of waiting patiently.
Yep,
Not being in a hurried state,
yep,
and also in fellowship,
absolutely.
I would imagine they're sitting, when you say groups, they weren't sitting like in a line, they were sitting like in the.
Right.
Right. Baskin and Robbins, take a number.
They were sitting to face each other,
Yeah.
to see
Yeah,
each other's eyes.
Yeah.
and
yes,
To look into the importance of sitting, patient, community, looking your
Yeah.
neighbor in the eye.
yeah, yeah, that's, I love that, that's great. You remind me that until very recent years, the French considered it uncivilized to eat standing up.
It really is.
It really is. They got a point, right? You're on the rush, you're on the go. That's not civilized, that's just stuffing your face, right?
And in Japan, you're not supposed to eat walking down the street.
They eat a lot walking down the street in New York.
Yeah, oh yeah, right, buy a slice and keep going,
Yeah.
right?
A bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Bone in
Yeah.
one hand, food in the other.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
why you have 2 hands.
yeah. So this is a very different image, right? This is an image of pausing, of fellowship, and eating plenty. And then what everybody ate and they're satisfied, and then they pick up the leftovers, and how much is left over?
12 baskets.
12 baskets. Okay, the number 12. All right. What immediately, you're a good Jew, 1st century Palestine, what comes to your mind? 12 tribes. 12 tribes, right? So there's enough here to feed all of the children of Israel and then some. We'll get to the and then some next week. And what does this tell us about Jesus' relationship to his church?
It's a priority.
Yeah, yeah. This is a way to be with Jesus. This is a way for Jesus to provide for us.
But he's more than enough.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. This,
Also, when 2 or 3 are gathered, Jesus is there present with them.
yeah, absolutely. That Jesus is present in this meal. And his mysterious kingship is at work in it.
What also is the story saying for the church of today?
What is it saying for the church of today?
To gather together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As Paul said, do not miss gathering together as is the habit of some. Yeah. Yeah. It does not count to eat in your car. From a spiritual standpoint, that doesn't count.
With the, remember the Dragon Church?
Oh, God, yeah. I forgot about that.
That was in California.
Of course.
The drive-through.
It's a drive-through church.
Yeah.
It's a drive-in church. Yeah, drive-in church.
Oh, like a movie.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Schuler, wasn't it? Schuler, his last name was Schuler. Robert Schuler.
Yeah, that's right.
Was it because of COVID or just?
No, this was like eighties.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you could drive through and get your
yeah,
bread and wine.
Yeah.
In the car.
Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
This is the same folks that brought you the drive-through funeral, as I recall, where you could just drive through and they'd raise the curtain and you'd see the person in the coffin and drive out, pay your respects like that.
bless their hearts.
Mhm.
Well, this narrative is always paired with the narrative that follows, with something to do with Jesus being on the sea and interacting with the disciples on the sea. They're always paired together in all four gospels. And here, of course, the disciples have left the shore in a boat and they hit a storm, right? Jesus is not in the boat though here. So what story does this recall? And I pointed you to chapter 8.
If I want to do that after you. In the boat.
They did. Not in John. In John they do.
Well, how about when Jesus was asleep in the boat?
Exactly.
Storm
It's the
came
calming of the storm. Exactly, right. In chapter 8, they're all in the boat together. And they're out on the Sea of Galilee, which sits in a horseshoe kind of arrangement. There's mountains around it that form sort of a three-sided horseshoe with the south opened up towards the River Jordan, and sudden storms can come up. And so they're out in that boat in chapter 8, all of them together, and Jesus is sawing logs, right? And they're all scared they're going to die. And those storms are severe. Anybody who's been there as a tourist or a pilgrim will say, you know, I talked to fishermen there now and people who take tour boats out, and they say, yeah, you can get caught in these sudden storms. And so Jesus was out cold there, and they're like, hey, wake up, do something. We're dying here. So here they're out in the boat, but Jesus is not with them. Yes, sir.
It impressed me that he dismissed the crowd. He didn't, they left and Jesus himself said, oh, it's time to go.
Yeah,
Instead of letting his subordinates dismiss the crowd.
yeah, he's still in charge. Yeah. So they're out on the sea, the storm comes up, and what happens?
They're panicking, and then Jesus comes out walking on the water, and they get even more scared because they think he's a ghost.
Yeah, absolutely. And Peter, right, Jesus says to them, he spoke to them and said, take heart. And then there's a phrase, have no fear. What do your translations say?
Don't be afraid.
It is I.
Have no fear.
It is I. Anybody have anything other than it is I?
I take her to his eye.
It is I. So the Greek that underlies that is emi ego. Emi, E-I-M-I, am. Ego, like ego, not like Eggo waffles. Ego, I, am I. In John, whenever Jesus says, I am the bread of life, I am the light of the world, I am the true vine, it's ego and me. I am. What is I am? Good
The
cue.
name-
Say it, Kathy, you got it.
Yeah, it's the name we call God. God
Right.
says, when he
Right.
was asked, who should I say told me? He said, tell him I am sent me.
Right, exactly. It is the divine name. A better translation here would be, I am, have no fear. Very clearly an assertion, a description, an illustration of Jesus, the sovereign, the divine, coming to them in the storm. Does that speak to you? Has Jesus ever come to you in a storm?
All the time.
Right, yeah, thank God, right?
Yeah.
Right? And interestingly here, does Jesus calm the storm?
Mhm.
No, what does he do?
Makes himself present.
Makes himself present.
Tells what he can do in the storm.
And what does he tell? What does Peter do?
Come to me.
Right.
Come
Get out of the boat and come to me.
I'm saying.
to me in that storm.
Come to me in the storm. Yeah,
Come toward me.
yeah. This is a beautiful, I would call it a parable, right? An illustrative story that teaches us about being in the storm. Well, of course, what does Peter do? He spoke first, all enthusiastic, very Peter, and then he gets out of the boat, and then what happens?
He gets fearful.
Yeah, yeah, because he doesn't keep his eyes on Jesus, right? Starts sinking. And what does Jesus do?
Reached out.
Reaches out and saves him.
Right, right. Remember the old hymn, Love Lifted Me, right? Pulls him up out of the sinking water and gets him back in the boat. It's worth pointing out, right? What's the most famous boat in the Bible?
Noah's Ark.
The Noah's Ark, right? You were on the boat or you were dead. Yeah. Very early on, the church is going to appropriate that image of an ark or a boat as the image of the church. Remember that when you walk into any Gothic cathedral and you look up at the ceiling and you see the hull of a ship. Right? The church has been depicted as the ship in which and through which we weather the storm. We have no mast, we have no sail, we have no rudder, we have Jesus. And what does this tell us about the life of the church? If the church is the boat, what's the life of the church? Is it smooth sailing?
No.
No. It's kind of a dumb question, isn't it? No.
It's a mission-focused rescue vessel.
Wow, I like that. I like
Me
that.
too. I wish I had thought of it.
There's a little proverb written on a door at Greenville County Animal Care, where it's my pleasure to work on occasion. And it says, "A smooth sea never made a great sailor." Say that again. A smooth sea never made a good sailor.
That's right.
Until you've had to face the storm, you're not a good sailor. You're just a novice. The church is asked to become good sailors. What does this tell us, this passage tell us about Jesus' relationship to his church? Do we always, I will push back a little bit though. Was he in the boat with them? Storm? No. Yeah.
You can always call on it.
Absolutely. Because there are plenty of times in life, yes, you're right, Jesus is always with us. But are we always aware of that? Do we often feel like I'm in this boat by myself?
We do feel that way, but it's his community building. It's a community.
Absolutely. And thank you for saying that, Kathy. A Greek Orthodox scholar and priest was speaking at the religion department when I was an undergrad. And Bill, were you there for this? Did you hear this? The Greek Orthodox preacher, the Greek Orthodox. No, okay, it's not ringing a bell. So I was really,
Where was it?
at Duke, and one of the attendees, somebody in the department, asked him the question, but what if you can't say this creed? You just can't say it. And I can't say, I believe in God the Father Almighty, blah, blah. I just can't say it. And the Greek Orthodox priest said, well, just keep saying it. You'll learn it. You'll get it. And he said, no, I can't say it. I just can't say I believe this. And the Greek Orthodox priest said, just keep saying it and you'll get it. And he said, no, I'm telling you, I can't say this. And he said, just keep saying it and you'll get it. There are times that the community gives voice to faith for us when we can't.
Mary Elizabeth,
Yes, ma'am.
when I was reading through this, you know, the ceiling of our church looks like the hull of a boat.
Right, then, yeah, typical of a Gothic church, yes.
Right. But it makes me think we're all in this boat together.
Absolutely.
And that's,
But we have to do this fast, this last little because it speaks to it.
There you go.
So Jesus crosses over to the other side, to Gennesaret. Is Gennesaret Jewish territory or Gentile territory?
Gentile, isn't it?
It's Gentile. And he continues to do miracles among people who are not part of the people of God, to save, to heal, to restore, to deliver. Because his kingdom is not just a Jewish kingdom. It's not just a Christian kingdom. I'm not telling the Lord one thing, although, yeah, I am. But scripture is clear. God comes to those who you might look at and say they are not gods. And it's precisely because of who God is that God comes to everyone. It is always the deaf to whom God gives music, the lame that God makes to leap, the blind to whom God gives sight, the sinner to whom God gives righteousness, and the dead to whom God gives life. And it's always the outsider God brings in. Because God is a savior.